Debbie and I actually started together at And Pizza. It was a concept that had 2 locations, getting ready to grow very quickly, getting things in place, leases signed, training materials in place to grow to be 12 to 14 by the end of this year. Almost everybody loves pizza, and usually the ones that don't, maybe have a gluten intolerance, they still love pizza, they're just jealous. And so that's what our concept's really based around. It's connecting people, connecting ideas, connecting us back to neighborhoods. There's a quote that really stuck with me for a long time is there's no such thing as a successful business in an unsuccessful neighborhood. We have a whole section of our company that's dedicated to just connecting back to the neighborhood. We use the best technology we can find right now. We have an oven that goes at 600 degrees. Your pizza goes through for 1 minute and 55 seconds. Comes out perfectly gooey, chewy. We have 4 locations in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We just opened up number 4 today. The other 8 that we have are all DC, Maryland, Virginia.
The 2 founders, they went on a mission. They came up with a concept. They were both in New York, and they traveled to, I don't know, 10 cities and decided that DC was the best market based on a list of factors. But they did due diligence. It wasn't like, oh yeah, let's go to DC. It seems like a good place. So they deemed this a good restaurant market.
So this is a corporate structure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gonna franchise it?
Yeah. Look, the idea. I mean, having you in the room makes it hard to say. Franchising has its positives and it has its negatives. And there's definitely a time and place, and there's a right concept. We have a brand that currently we're not willing to let go of certain strings because we have this other side, this emotional connection to our communities that we want to make as a part of our focus. And we feel like if we're not pushing that, we're not making that an effort as part of our brand, who else is going to do that? I'm a big fan of franchises for a lot of reasons, but I'm also a big fan of sometimes knowing when your brand is not right for a franchise currently. So we want to be involved in people the schools. We have this kids come in, they can go through the process about where our food comes from, why that's important, especially in the city. Being in the city, it's like kids don't realize that food still comes from farms. They see it in books, pictures, movies, but they don't really, how does that really work? So just being able to explain the basics of that, having them go through the process of a business, looking at your logistics support as food travels through our system and goes to an end user. What's that like, a business transaction? You know, in my career and being in the restaurant industry, one of my favorite groups to hire is from a veteran group. They understand some of the basic simplicities of what the restaurant business is, logistics. Following a checklist and executing, and not just executing, but executing to completion. A lot of kids nowadays don't fully grasp that or get that, and having that military experience and having that background is a huge plus in this industry. I talked to some of my friends across the country that are in the business, and we talked about, you can define a healthy business or a healthy restaurant based on year-over-year sales, what those are, and if you have a 2% year-over-year sales growth, you're considered pretty healthy in the industry.
I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I did not want to work for anybody else. I went to entrepreneurship boot camp for disabled veterans at UV.
Great program.
Great program. I built a business plan. Took me like 6 months. Moved up to Baltimore. Bought software. Bought all this equipment, all this stuff. Moved in, and I was off and running. And I was, an entrepreneur. And I was working 90, 100 hours a week too. So what I learned in doing that, I did it for about a year, a little over a year. And what I learned is that to start a business, you have to have an incredible amount of passion. And if you don't, you're going to lose energy, which I think that's what happened to me. I really liked the business. I just wasn't passionate enough about it. And I didn't have the patience to sustain another 4 to 5 years for that to be successful. So I completely checked out, went to South America, I still wanted to own my own business. I didn't like the idea of being an employee, but I had no idea where to start. Just one day just came to me like, how about franchising? Franchising, I don't have to create anything necessarily. The business model is already done for me. I just have to learn it and execute it. I can do that. I know I can do that. But again, I had no idea where to start, so I just started Googling franchising, and I came across the International Franchise Association. I met this guy that I stayed in touch with him over the course of maybe 3 months. I would send him emails every week saying, I really want to get in this business. I want a job. So I had a strategy at this point. I wanted to learn franchising from the inside, which I wanted a job. I wanted to be an employee of the International Franchise Association temporarily. That was 1.5 years ago. And so turns out they called me in for an interview. I got the job, and I am the program manager for a program called VetFran, and that's a program of the International Franchise Association, which is a trade association. It's the largest in the world in the franchise industry. I have 630 VetFran members, and what a VetFran member means is if you join VetFran, you have to have an established veterans program. So say you wanted to get in a pizza franchise, and it cost $300,000 total startup capital to get into. But the franchise fee, to go on franchising, you have to pay a franchising fee to buy into their brand. Normally that's around $50,000. A lot of the VetFran members have all these discounts that will either anything from 10% discount all the way up to completely waiving the $50,000 franchise fee. And also in addition, there's food credits, there's financing options like in-house, there's mentorship that we have. There's all kinds of stuff, and we have a database that you can go to, and you can search by industry, and it brings up a company profile, and in that profile you can see what the VetFran program would be. Well, if you're an entrepreneur, you can do whatever you want. It's your business. Right. And yet there's a lot of freedom. There's also more risk, too. And then you have to create literally everything. You created something that didn't exist at all. I mean, it's a very noble thing to do, and I have so much respect for entrepreneurs. I personally, unless I have a brilliant idea, which hasn't came thus far, or have something that I'm passionate enough to sustain, years of me working tons of hours, I probably won't attempt it again. It's just I don't see it for me. But franchising, on the other hand, it's something that's definitely resonates with me because I like the idea of someone else doing all that stuff for me. Like they already built the business plan. They already proved that if you follow this model, because there's a manual, like an operational manual, step by step, what to do, what not to do, who to order your supplies from, like the vendors, how to train your employees, what to wear, everything, all details. And they're all meant for a very specific person. They've been tested that this is best practices. People will buy whatever you're selling because you're doing this. And I mean, it's really fascinating. So I like the idea that someone already figured that out for me. You can leverage the success of one franchise, buy a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, whatever. Sky's the limit. And then you can step back and you can be like a holding company kind of. So you're in the business of franchising rather than you're a franchisee.
Whether you're starting your own idea or you're buying a franchise, you're buying yourself a job.
You have to pay them royalties, which is normally 6% of your revenue.
So if you made $1 million worth of revenue with this pizza store this year, that might be great. You might not have made a profit, but you still got to pay 6% to the franchise, Domino's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We have to pay a marketing department. We have to pay all these people that, in a franchise, like he said, you have departments that have already created the material, collateral, they do the job already. We have to hire somebody to do all these different things.
We have an online university that you can apply and you can go through courses that way. There's events at each of our expos. We have 5 per year. So you can go and you can listen to a panel seminar, and these are veteran franchisees talk about their experience and how to get into franchising. And then we also partner with the USO, and we do this type of environment. Franchise training is just it's 2 weeks long.